They called me a visionary, a digital Robin Hood, a cyber rebel fighting the corrupt machinery of government, but none of them knew what it really cost, what I really did, what I really became. Uh, my name is Ross Ulbricht, but online, I was Dread Pirate Roberts. At first, it was just a wild idea, a thought born in the corners of a libertarian forum. What if people could trade freely, without borders, without oversight, without fear? I never imagined it would spiral into the darkest market ever created on the web. I built the Silk Road from my bedroom, a sick glow of code lighting my face for days at a time. No sleep, no sun, just me and the machine. When I launched it, it was small: weed, a few mushrooms, the odd forged document. I watched the transactions flow in like a gambler watches chips stack up. Then the users came and kept coming, and so did the sellers: cocaine, meth, human organs, guns, malware kits, guides on torture, and I let it all through. I told myself I was liberating people, but I was becoming a god. People begged me for favors. Some wanted to be mods, others wanted rival dealers gone. One man, he called himself Red Bull 88, kept asking me if I could make someone disappear. I laughed at first. Then he offered 80 Bitcoin, then 100. Then he said, "It's either him or me." I stared at the screen for a long time, and I said yes. I sent the money to a supposed hitman, one of my own users, actually. A silent partner. I didn't care if the job was real. I just wanted the threat gone. I thought I could sleep afterward. I didn't, because then came the photos. A man tied to a chair, bruised, mouth duct taped. Another photo, his throat slit ear to ear. A third of his body dumped in a gutter. I never verified if it was real. I never asked. I didn't want to know. But I felt it, like a sickness in my spine. Something had turned inside me. I wasn't building freedom anymore. I was managing a nightmare. Every day I opened my laptop, I felt like I was peeling away from my own soul. The Bitcoin ticker kept going up. Millions were flowing. But I didn't care. I stopped seeing people as people. They were usernames, hashes, transactions. Then came the knock on the library door. They waited until I logged into the admin panel, until I typed in the credentials, mastermind. They knew. They were watching. And I, like a fool, was reading a libertarian article about free market utopias when they tackled me to the floor. They didn't just arrest me, they buried me. 2 life sentences and 40 years. And yet, the Silk Road still exists in fragments. Copies, forks, remnants of the empire I built. You think it's gone? You think the dark web has a bottom? No, it's alive, and it remembers me. Let me Do you think monsters wear masks? They don't. They wear smiles, collared shirts, they speak softly, they look like your neighbor, your coworker, your local volunteer, and they hide in plain sight, waiting to be seen. My name doesn't matter anymore. I buried it under 1,000 fake passports and wiped drives. But you know my work. You've heard the name Daisy's Destruction. I didn't name it that. A client did. One of the premium tier subscribers, I let him name the show because he paid enough to earn that privilege. $10,000 in Bitcoin for a live stream. He wanted a girl. Not just any girl. He wanted a broken one. He wanted to watch her crack. I gave him Daisy. She was 9 years old. Do you want to know what real evil sounds like? It doesn't scream. It whimpers. It pleads. It asks why. Over and over again. Why are you doing this? Why can't I go home? Why won't you stop? The camera caught every word, every tear. I built the set myself, a small, soundproofed room in the middle of the jungle outside Surigao, Philippines. No roads, no noise, no escape. The door bolted from the outside, and the walls were lined with dampening foam and stains no bleach could lift. I set up 3 cameras, one for the client's control, one from overhead, one close-up. They liked close-ups the most. We used a live voting system. Break her arm, one would say. Burn her feet, another would bid higher. There were men from all over the world: Austria, Canada, Germany, the US, doctors, businessmen, priests, all of them anonymous, all of them monsters in suits. But I was worse, because I made it happen. Do you know what happens when you kill your conscience bit by bit, day after day? You stop seeing human beings. You see inventory. A girl isn't a child anymore, she's a revenue stream. A victim becomes content. Content becomes currency, and I got rich. Not flashy rich, no mansions or Bugattis, but quiet rich. Islands, crypto vaults, offshore ghosts no agency could trace. I became a shadow, untouchable, unseen, until I made a mistake. One of the girls escaped, limping barefoot through the trees, clutching a rusted blade she'd hidden beneath her pillow. She reached a road. A trucker found her, shaking, bleeding, sobbing in dialect. It took weeks before they traced her words back to me. But Interpol came. So did the Australian Federal Police. They raided the house, took the tapes, and they saw it. All of it. I saw in their faces what it did to them. Seasoned agents vomiting in the grass. One broke down, another quit on the spot. They called it the worst thing ever captured on video. I was arrested in 2015. They chained me, paraded me for the world to see. The courtroom was silent when they showed stills. A few people fainted. Some screamed. One woman clawed her own arms. But I smiled, because monsters don't wear masks. And when they catch one of us, 1,000 more hide behind screens, waiting, watching, learning. You think it ended with me? The next Daisy is already out there. You have to understand, I wasn't always like this. I was a husband, a quiet man, worked in IT, paid my taxes, mowed the lawn on Sundays, but something inside me broke, slowly like glass under pressure. It was my wife, or rather what she did to me. She cheated, lied, made a fool of me, paraded around like the house, the car, the money. I was just a stepping stone. And then when I confronted her, she smiled, like she won, like I was too weak to do anything about it. That night, I couldn't sleep. My brain ran endless loops of what if? What if she just disappeared? What if I started over? The thought didn't scare me, it relieved me. So I opened my Tor browser. I'd been down the rabbit hole before: red rooms, snuff rumors, hitmen for hire. Most of it looked like scams. But then I found Bessa Mafia. The site was sleek, more professional than most darknet marketplaces. There were listings. We offer services worldwide. Disappearances, accidents, permanent removals, pay in Bitcoin, no questions asked. They even had a FAQ, like it was Amazon. How much to kill a person? $10,000. How long does it take? 1 to 3 weeks. Can I choose how it happens? Yes, for an extra fee. I thought, scam. But then I saw reviews, usernames with long transaction histories, testimonies, target eliminated, no evidence, professional, worth every BTC. Wife never made it to court. Thank you. It was like Yelp for murder. I made an account. They called me Night Driver 82. I uploaded photos of her routine, work, gym, grocery store. I paid $12,000 in Bitcoin from my cold wallet. Within 48 hours, I got a message. Target confirmed. Surveillance underway. It didn't feel real. Until the next message came. She goes to yoga Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Quiet alley behind the studio. One hit. No noise. Expect news soon. That night, I sat in the dark, waiting, sweating, refreshing local news feeds. Nothing. Another day passed. Still nothing. Then an email. Not from the site. From an anonymous burner. You thought we wouldn't find out who you are, Night Driver? Attached was a photo of me, from inside my own car. Me checking my phone. The message continued. She's safe. You're not. I panicked, wiped my drives, threw the laptop in the river, but it was too late. They had my face, my Bitcoin transaction hash, my home address, and worst of all, they had my intent. The next day, I received a package. No return address. Inside was a single flash drive. I plugged it in. The video showed her, my wife, eating lunch with a friend, laughing. The camera zoomed slowly until it focused on a red laser dot tracing across her chest. Then it cut to black. Nothing happened. She's still alive, still oblivious. But now, I sleep with a gun under my pillow. I never found out who sent the package. The site vanished days later. Rumors say Bessa Mafia was an elaborate scam run by a hacker collective. Others say it was a sting operation. But maybe, just maybe, it was real. And they just chose to let me live, to watch my back for the rest of my life. I was never meant for this world. Some people are born under warm suns with hands that are held and voices that are heard. I wasn't. I lived in corners, empty apartments, offices full of people who never looked me in the eye. I was a ghost, flesh and blood, but hollow inside. And then I found him. I was browsing an old fetish forum. It was almost dead, threads from years ago buried under layers of digital dust. But there was a message that hadn't aged. Just 6 words, looking for a willing victim. Germany. I clicked. The post was methodical, cold but articulate. He described what he wanted: someone who would consent fully and willingly to being butchered and eaten. Most people would be horrified. I felt something else. I replied. We talked for weeks. His name was Armin. He lived alone in a farmhouse near Rothenburg. He never pushed, never begged, just asked questions, calmly, clearly. He wanted to know about my childhood, my limits, my reasons. And when I told him I wanted to be consumed, he didn't mock me. He said, "Then let me give your death meaning." We agreed on everything: how it would happen, what body part he would eat first, even how I wanted it to feel. I bought a one-way train ticket and deleted everything else from my life. When I arrived, the house was warm. He greeted me like an old friend, offered tea, made polite conversation. The walls were lined with books, soft classical music playing in the background. You wouldn't think a monster lived there. But monsters don't look like beasts. They look like men. That night, he led me to the slaughter room. It wasn't what you'd expect. No chains, no blood-stained walls, just a clean table, a camera on a tripod, a first aid kit, and a large kitchen knife gleaming in the light. He asked me one last time, "Are you sure?" I nodded. The first cut was precise, my thigh. He wanted the muscle fresh. I screamed, not from pain, but from release. I had never felt more alive. He cooked part of me right there. Garlic, butter, a red wine reduction, and then he fed it to me. Do you know what it's like to eat your own flesh? It's like swallowing all your shame, your memories, your pain. It was grotesque. It was transcendent. I began to fade after that. Blood loss, shock, maybe the morphine he gave me. I remember the camera lens looking down at me, unblinking. I remember his hands, tender, almost reverent, stroking my hair. He whispered, "Thank you." Then everything went black. I'm not supposed to be telling you this, because I died that night. But my voice lived on in forums, in transcripts, in police reports. Armin kept the video labeled and dated. Authorities found it after he was arrested. He confessed without hesitation. The world called him a monster, but I called him purpose. And somewhere, in the still corners of the dark web, people still whisper my name in fetish boards and cannibal chat rooms. Some call me brave, but I was just broken, and I wanted to be devoured. I watched a red room, and I think it was real. I didn't believe they were real. Red rooms, the myth, the legend, a live stream where people are tortured and killed for entertainment, while anonymous users bid in real time to decide what happens next. Everyone says it's an urban legend, a creepypasta for edgy teens. Even most hackers say, "Nah, that's just Hollywood." So did I, until I saw one. I wasn't looking for it. Not really. I'd been deep in the dark web for years, part of a small Discord group that collected and cataloged digital oddities. Lost ARGs, obscure horror games, weird live streams, abandoned .onion sites. Urban archaeology, basically. One night, someone in the group, username null signal, posted a URL. "This one's different. Don't go unless you're ready." We laughed it off. But curiosity is a drug. I copied the string into my Tor browser and loaded it. Just a black page, one line of red text. "Do you wish to watch?" There were 2 buttons, yes and no. I clicked yes. The screen flickered. Then came the stream. No countdown, no introduction, just a woman, late 20s maybe, tied to a chair in a concrete room. Her face was bruised. There was blood on the floor. The camera was fixed, static, no cuts. She was alive, breathing, crying. At first, I thought it was fake, a performance, some twisted theater, and I noticed the chat on the side. Anonymous viewers were typing in commands, and someone, a moderator maybe, was responding. "User, break her fingers, plus 0.3 BTC. Confirm?" User, confirmed. A man entered the frame, black balaclava, surgical gloves, no hesitation. He walked over and grabbed her hand. She screamed. I wanted to close the tab. I hovered over the X, but I couldn't move. I told myself I was studying it, collecting data, verifying if it was real. But the truth, I was transfixed. Not by the violence, but by the eerie, silent machinery of it. How clean it all was. How systematic. The votes kept coming. Pull a tooth. Burn her legs. Blind her left eye. each with a Bitcoin price, each performed with surgical efficiency. Then the worst part, the wheel. A spinning graphic appeared on screen. Wheel of finality. It had options like strangle, eviscerate, bleed out, and release. One was green, the rest were red. Someone in chat paid zero point 0.2 BTC to spin. It landed on strangle slow. The man returned, pulled a garrote wire from his pocket. The woman saw it. She thrashed, screamed, begged. The mic volume didn't change. Her cries were real. Her body twitched for a long time. Then it was over. She was just gone. And the stream cut to black. I sat there for what felt like hours, shaking, crying maybe. I'm not sure. I opened my notes folder, but I couldn't type. I couldn't even speak. I just kept hearing her last sounds, wet, choking, frantic. The next day, Null Signal deleted his account. All his posts gone. Our Discord vanished. The link never worked again. I searched every darknet index, scraped logs, ran crypto tracebacks. Nothing. But I know what I saw. It wasn't fake. The latency, the blood oxygen drop, the body response, that wasn't acting, that wasn't special effects, that murder. Real, live, bought and paid for. And now I can't stop dreaming about it. Sometimes I wake up gasping, hearing her voice. Other nights I see the chat window in my sleep and it asks me, do you wish to ever click yes? But I think someday I will. And that's what scares me the most. If you've made it this far, thank you, not just for reading, but for listening. These voices, these confessions, aren't just stories. They're echoes from the shadows that lurk beneath the surface of the web, and sometimes beneath the surface of ourselves. You may want to believe these were just tales, fiction, exaggerations, but deep down you know better. The dark web is real. The people in it are real, and the monsters it harbors, they don't always stay hidden. If nothing else, let these accounts serve as a warning. Curiosity has a price. Some doors once opened can never be closed. Some videos once seen never stop playing behind your eyes. So lock your digital doors, sleep with your conscience intact, and whatever you do, don't click yes. Thank you for listening.